morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
I pray that you had a good morning and got here safe and your day's going well. We're calling this meeting to order October 17th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Some notes of interest. All meeting attendees must sign in on the designated sign-in sheet to your right when you came in. So if you're here and you have not signed in, please, ma'am, please, sir. All your electronic devices must be turned off or muted so as not to disrupt this meeting. And individuals that are wishing to address the board must do so from the podium right over here by Officer Wood. Please adjust the microphone and state your name before making comments for our reporter can make sure she has everything on record. All right, we're moving to the approvals of the minutes for October 3rd, 2024 meeting. Is there a motion? We didn't. Lord. All right, we're going to omit that and pass that to, make a motion to pass to the next meeting. Is there a motion, Ron? Is that what's your motion? All right, can I get a second? Second. All right, it's been motion by Ron, second by Bessie, that we move October 3rd approval minutes to the next meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. All right, all individuals that will be testifying regarding a pending application, would you stand, please, so you can be sworn in?
And right here, please, that each of you solemnly swear or affirm that you understand that you do the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God.
I do. All right, thanks, Ms. Lord. All right, there have been beer applications approved by the regulatory. I'm just going to cite these and then we'll move forward. Bright Martin Corp., Three Sisters Bluegrass Festival, they've been approved by regulatory. Tennessee River Gorge Trust as Chattanooga, been approved by regulatory. Nooga Taps LLC, known as Nooga Rugby, been approved by regulatory. Restaurant Group of Chattanooga LLC, doing business as the Four Restaurant Group, has been approved by regulatory. Now we are moving to, do we have to make a motion on that? Because that's already been, we don't have to do anything today.
We don't have to do anything.
Gotcha, okay, that's just FYI. All right, so beer applications passed from our previous meeting was RG Chattanooga LLC, doing business as Rodizio Grill Chattanooga Downtown. Are you in the building? All right, have they came through regulatory or anything?
Looks like the only thing left on it was legal.
All right, and then there's a question on the floor by Ron.
That was my question, was what was holding this? Wow.
Okay.
I signed off on it this morning, so it can be approved by regulatory.
Okay.
Administratively.
All right, so we're going to pass Rodizio Grill Chattanooga Downtown Beer 1263 over to regulatory. It's been signed off by legal. This board does not have to do anything.
Right.
All right. So there's no temporary beer permits. And so now we're moving forward to new beer applications. And we'll hear from Ms. Bertha regarding Robert Stickley LLC, doing business as Chattanooga Brewing Company, LLC.
All righty. Timothy Kelly Blind Trust, care of Robert Stickley, is making application to engage in the sale of consumer beer at 730 Chestnut Street. He's not present.
He also hasn't submitted the rest of the documentation that we needed. So we've been in communication with him. So I would suggest that we either pass this to the next meeting or let the regulatory unit handle it.
All right, we have heard from legal.
I guess the best deal there is to pass it to the regulatory.
Regulatory.
Make a motion, we pass it to the regulatory committee.
Second. It's been motion by Ron, second by Reggie, that we pass this to regulatory. Christie?
Yes.
Brooke?
Yes.
Veronica? Yes. Ron? Yes. Reggie?
Yes.
Betsy?
Yes.
And Zach?
Yes.
And the chair vote yes. We will move Robert Stickley LLC, doing business as Chattanooga Brewing Company, Beer 1277, to regulatory. Next, we have Mint Hospitality Group LLC, doing business as Mint.
Brian Joyce is making application to engage in the sale of consumer beer at 1208 King Street, Unit 120. Mr. Joyce has not had a beer permit for this location, but had a beer permit for the Blue Light located at 43 Station Street in the past. The location is owned by River Ford LLC and is zoned UIX.
All right, Mr. Joyce?
Like I say, it looks like the only thing that was holding us up was legal. I don't know if the board has questions for Mr. Joyce or not, but we'll defer to Mr. Joyce.
All right, and I heard, Sergeant Woods, you said legal is holding.
Correct.
Well, I felt that this application had to be reviewed by the beer board first before I signed off on it.
Gotcha. All right. All right. Good morning, sir.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well.
Good.
All right, please explain to us and tell us about Mint Hospitality Group doing business as Mint. What you got going on?
Yeah, this came together because Wanderlinger Brewing Company was the previous tenant at that space, and I had heard that they were thinking of moving spaces, so I had contacted Urban Story Ventures, which is River Ford, and set up a meeting with them, told them that, I was interested in doing something. I wanted to get an idea of, what kind of businesses that they want in their building, and we had a couple of meetings about that. They said, Wanderlinger was doing a lot of late-night entertainment. That's what we like. That's kind of how we designed the building. And we discussed different ideas, and just came to the idea that that's a good space to do live music, dancing, DJs, things like that. And just looking forward to it. They're good people, and it's the kind of concept that they're looking for.
All right, we heard from Brian Joyce. Any questions from this board? Ron?
Yes, sir. What's the occupancy of this building?
The occupancy that was approved is 200.
200?
And I think that's the same as what it was for Wanderlinger. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah.
And what days and hours are you going to be working?
The hours are Tuesday to Saturday, 5 p.m. to close. Close being, I would think, like on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll probably be closed by 11 p.m., 12 a.m. On a Friday, Saturday, or 2 a.m.
2 a.m.?
2 a.m., 2:30, whenever the crowd starts to dissipate.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Christie?
Meant a live music location or a nightclub? What is it?
They were doing a little bit of both at Wanderlinger. Like Wanderlinger was a brewery. I'm not in the brewery business, so they took all of their equipment. But in terms of entertainment, they did live bands. They did DJs. They did some rave parties, things like that. So we'd really kind of like to do all of the above. They left the stage intact. They left kind of like the DJ booth area intact. So the bones of the space kind of conducive to that. It's a big space. It's 6,000 square feet. So, there's a lot of room for people to mingle. And the bar setup is nice. The bar's kind of situated far enough away from the stage where, there's a whole spacious area where you can do live music and that sort of thing. Yeah.
So is it like the Signal?
Not nearly that big. If I had to compare it to another space, maybe like a Clyde's.
Okay.
Yeah, Clyde's is like kind of bar restaurant in one side, and then they've got the stage up front.
Is it an age limit on it?
Yeah, we're going to be 21 plus.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there could be a change, maybe for like private events. People want to do private bookings, family events, things like that. We'd probably let in underage people for an event like that. But as far as our, operating hours, 21 plus, yeah.
All right, Ms. Bessie?
Is it all indoors or is there outdoor space?
There's a patio. So it's 6,000 square feet indoors. And then they have a corner patio area that's completely encompassed. There's, gate, fencing. The patio, maybe holds 30 or 40 people. And I don't know if you're familiar with the space, but it's sort of like a corner location. And so you've got this patio that just kind of, rounds out the corner.
Yeah, I am familiar, and I'm curious about the noise level that late with
Yeah.
the hotel being right there.
Right, yeah. So, again, that's one of the first things I talked about with Urban Story, because I said, nightlife is not for everybody, but, Wanderlinger was doing live music, they were doing rave parties, they were doing some things that could get pretty loud. And Jimmy White from Urban Story just said, look, we've got an industrial plant on one side, it's the Pilgrims plant. You've got offices upstairs, so there's no residents to worry about there. On the back side is an industrial plant. And then, like you say, across the parking lot is Moxie. To my knowledge, and Jimmy said, we never received any noise complaints. I mean, the building, it's a big old building. I think it was built in 1908. It's like 3 feet thick of concrete. So they would do some loud nights there that would go late, but nothing that ever disturbed anybody. Yeah, so we're pretty confident that we can just keep it the same.
Anybody else?
One more. You are going to have an ABC license?
Yes, the inspection was just done yesterday.
Thank you.
All right. I had a couple questions also, Mr. Joyce. The first question, did you state your hours of operations?
Yeah, Tuesday to Saturday, 5 p.m. to close. And again, close on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that'll probably be like 11 p.m., 12 a.m. I really don't see us being open longer than that on a weekday. And then weekends, 2:30, the usual weekend closing time.
All right. And then, are you the sole owner? I know Bertha read that. Are you primary owner, nobody else but you?
Just me.
All right. I don't know if I can say this on record or not. So are we looking at another blue light situation with another name?
We're not looking to do that at all.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, that's a good question. No, and again, in like the very first meeting that I had with Jimmy, I put everything on the table. I said, what kind of atmosphere are you looking to bring here? We've had long conversations about that. Our decision is just, we think there's really good late night crowds out there. Kids who want to have a good time, fun time, dance. They want to bring, because they have Goodfellas right next door. And the Goodfellas crowd, that's a crowd that kind of hangs out there till about midnight usually, and then they're looking for somewhere else to go. And I think, their feeling is, rather than having them leave and go to another part of the city, they'd like to keep them there if they can. But I'm not really looking to, if I'm being frank, I'm not really looking to attract too much of the Station Street crowd. I just, the entire point of picking a new location away from there and finding new people to work with is to just do something completely different. So, yeah.
All right. And my last question is just to follow up to that. Being a blue light, being past tense blue light, now we're coming to mint. That last situation, I think it was suspended, beer license was suspended, revoked, when it all went to court.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was suspended?
The beer
Which one was it?
The beer permit there was revoked once. We had it reinstated a couple of times. We went to court a few times over that. Eventually what happened is I just sold that business off to the landlords there. They had made me an offer, sold the business off, let the liquor license expire, and then we just dropped the court case and I moved on.
But your beer license was revoked from the beer committee, correct?
At Blue Light it was, and then we had it reinstated a couple of times, and like I say, that played out.
Tell me about the reinstatement, or tell us about the reinstatement, because I'm not for sure if...
Yeah, we just appealed it to court, and it was reinstated until, the next court hearing, which oftentimes that would take like 6 months, so that would go like another 6 months until we had a court hearing about it.
So what I'm hearing you say, please help me, the court reinstated your beer license?
Yes, temporarily, to keep, until a final decision is made by the courts.
It's like it gets passed.
Point of order.
Okay.
So what happened with those court cases is that when Mr. Joyce appealed, there was a supersedious writ, and that allowed him to stay in business until it was heard by the court. Eventually, everything was dropped in the court, so those revocations and those suspensions stayed on his record.
Which means, help me out, they're still revoked.
They were, yes.
Not reinstated.
Right.
Okay.
Well, that's what I meant. They were reinstated temporarily while that played out in the courts. Once I sold the business off, I just dropped the case because I knew I wasn't staying at that location.
Is it safe to, so we're saying, and help me out, are we saying Blue Light was revoked or Brian Joyce was revoked? I
No,
guess
that's a separate company. That was a separate company that had a beer permit under that name. Really not involved with that company anymore. There was a partner in that company with me. The main reason why the entity still exists because after you close down a bar business, like revenue does an audit, and oftentimes that can take, like it's taken a year. So the entity is still filed with the state of Tennessee until the audit is completed on it. And at that point, we're just dissolving that company. But I haven't operated anything under the umbrella of that company since I moved off Station Street. Yeah. And again, that was the point of just meeting with these new guys and coming up with a new idea that just meant to appeal to just a completely different audience and a different part of town.
Any questions from this board?
So the license was under Blue Light. That's what it was under, right?
Speak up.
So,
again.
like, and this is a whole totally different business.
Turn your mic up, please.
Can you hear me now?
No, it's not.
They got you one more time. They're gonna do one.
The license was under Blue Light.
Yes,
And this is a whole totally different business.
this is a different business, but Mr. Joyce had ownership in the previous business and he has ownership in this business as well.
Which he says has been dissolved or sold.
So I was a 50-50 owner in a business called Diceman Enterprises. That's what operated Blue Light. When I sold that business off and haven't been in the bar business since then. In order to create this new business, I just created a new business because number one, I'm going in on it at 100%. I'm not doing a 50-50 partnership with the old person. Number two, I was not going to operate it under the old company. That business was under that company. This is a completely separate application under a different company and a different concept in a different part of town.
Okay, so I have a question. On your application, when asked if, hold on one second, let me pull it up. All right, the application asks if, has the applicant or any person having 5% or greater ownership interest in the applicant ever had a beer permit suspended, revoked, or denied in the state of Tennessee? Your answer was no.
Because it was my understanding that, I don't know what the court dropping the case means. I don't know if that means it's just, I don't know what that means.
So if I were to tell you that because you dropped the case, the revocations and suspensions stand, would you amend this answer to say yes?
Sure, I mean, if that's what you're telling me.
Yes,
Sure.
that's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
All right, so repeat that one more time for this body. You're telling him because of the revocation still stands, even though he dropped the case. The suspension and the revocation still exists.
Right,
Gotcha. Which means your beer license is still revoked.
right.
Okay.
And that is again, I want to be clear that that's another business that's not involved in this at all.
Right. Another business, but same individual.
I'm the owner, sure.
Right. All right. Any questions? No. Good. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Veronica?
You keep saying that you're meeting with Urban something and you're meeting with somebody else. Are you operating it or the other people going to operate the?
Urban Story Ventures is just the landlord. They're the owners of the premises. And again, I think that's important just because Urban Story Ventures, they are a pretty big developer in this city. They have a very good reputation. They're great people. I think they have some great ideas. And I was very excited to meet with them. They're just good people. They seem to have really good ideas. They liked the sound of what I want to do there. Like I said, we had some real talks about, what exact hours you're looking to operate, what kind of a vibe do you want to have here, what do you want to do with the space, and just all of our ideas were right on the same level with each other. So Yeah, they have that property there. They used to own the Moxie Hotel. I think they sold that off to somebody else in the past couple of years. And then aside from that, they're working on other projects around the city. I know they're doing the Bend development that's down there on the west side. And he's done a few other things around town. Yeah.
All right. Any more questions? Anything you want to say before we start voting?
Just one question though. Changing this no to a yes, is that something we can do now? Can that be done on OpenGov right now,
I
or?
think that's, yes.
I was gonna say, I believe we could do that if we had Mr. Joyce's permission to go in there and change that answer.
Well,
Yeah, like I said, that's a source of confusion on my part when I just dropped the court case. I'm not a lawyer or a judge. I don't know what that means in terms of the legal status, but I'm just not operating that business and that beer permit is not active.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, question, prior to this meeting, if he would have said yes, would that put his application on hold? Because he's had a license revoked.
So the thing with that is it would have been heard by the beer board and y'all would have had the authority to either grant or deny the permit.
That's where we are now.
That's where you are now.
All right.
I have a question.
Yes, sir, Zach?
Just one comment is, depending on how the vote goes, there's going to be a hawkeye, I think, on the business, just because of the past headlines and everything with the past business. And I've been to Wonderlinger 1,000 times. It's a great location. Is there anything you're doing intentionally to not attract the type of activities that occurred at Blue Light?
Absolutely.
And what are those?
Yeah. Everything from the decor to the type of entertainment we're going to offer to the type of food we're going to offer. We do have a proper size kitchen, which is something that the Blue Light space did not have. Mainly that, just the entertainment, the decor, the location. Again, I do think it's kind of imperative to note that Urban Story, they have very particular ideas as to what kind of tenants they want. They had this space free. They knew the kind of entertainment that Wanderlinger was booking. They said, that seems to be working pretty well, but they want to move to a new location. Do we want to do something like that? And I said, yeah. Aside from, I'm not going to be brewing beer, but the entertainment being offered, live music, electronic dance music, that sort of thing. Yeah. And they're just, they're very excited about it. It was their idea as much as it was mine, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Bessie?
So should we assume then you have a very close relationship with Urban Story? So
Yes.
if, for instance, something did hit the news, something did happen, would they have oversight to
Oh, yeah.
immediately close the
Yeah,
place
and
down? So
we've
would,
had that conversation a few times, and basically, if I'm paraphrasing them, they just said, we want our tenants to be successful, so anything you need from us, let us know. Anything we could do for you, let us know. I invited them down here today. I think they're just very busy. I think they're in meetings. So yeah, it's a very hands-on, close relationship, which, honestly is very good because that's not something I had on Station Street. Our landlords at Station, that was a complicated situation because the ownership of the Choo Choo, when I took out that lease, was local. And then the week after I signed the lease, they sold it off to a business out of Chicago. And the communication back and forth and it wasn't the greatest. I don't think that was anybody's fault, really. They were just a national corporation that owns and operates a lot of, buildings and properties around the country. And so the communication wasn't great. In the case here, my contacts at Urban Story are Cole, Mary Martha, and Jimmy. And yeah, we talk several times a week. Yeah. So it's been a really good relationship. And like I said, I think they felt that the entertainment options that were being offered at Wanderlinger were working. For whatever reason, I think Wanderlinger just wanted to move to a different space. But they kind of wanted to keep something going that attracts a nightlife crowd, like somewhere where the Goodfellas crowd and the Moxie crowd can kind of bounce over and enjoy that. Yeah, so that's really, I mean, in terms of the clientele we're trying to attract, it's people who are going to Goodfellas and Moxie, and different other places around town, that area of town. Yeah.
Christie?
So does Urban Story have more regulation around your business?
I don't know if I think we'd have to define regulation. It's a much closer relationship. The lease is written out with much clearer defined parameters, which is also good. Because at the old space, like I said, the lease I had signed was with a previous ownership, and then they sold off to a new business from Chicago, who I think had completely different expectations for that building, and a lot of times it wasn't very clear on who wanted what and what the concept was supposed to be. In this case, my lease very clearly states that this is supposed to be a cocktail bar, restaurant, a nightclub, with late night, weekend hours, to attract, the Goodfellas crowd and the Moxie crowd. And all of our conversations with each other and our meetings have been very specific in that way. Yeah, which is good. I mean, I'd say it's a breath of fresh air. I like working with these people. They're very communicative, and they've made it very clear, like what they think works at their location and what doesn't, and what they want.
So it's more a matter of fact of what they want versus-
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Mainly because, Jimmy is also, he's a very successful developer. He's got a lot of other things in the works. And so it's a situation where, I really appreciate when they said to me, we want our tenants to do well. But I want him to do well because he's done a lot of great things in Chattanooga. He's got some other projects in the works that are going to be huge. And so all of us together, everybody who operates under his umbrella, tenants, his business, we're just trying to bring fun and cool things to the city. Things that are a positive reflection on the city and the community and just generate good headlines. Yeah.
All right, Ms. Veronica?
So question or comment, why would you operate a business based on what Urban Story wants and not what you want? Since you're the operator, you're the one that's gonna be running this and it's gonna be costing you.
I find it very important to have, like, if you own a building, you can make your own decisions with what you do with your property. If you're leasing a space from somebody, it's best to be on the same page of what the expectations are. And so again, like the very first meeting we had with each other, I just said, what are you looking to do? Are you looking to do another brewery? Because I don't brew beer. Are you looking to do like a pool hall? Because I don't have pool tables. You just start talking about ideas. And that's when they said to me, no, like what we really want to do is keep like that nightlife aspect. Wanderlinger had some pretty cool stuff going on with live bands and late night DJs. And they were good nights, and we like that. So it's really important to have just good communication and a good relationship with your landlord. It just is, it's good for everybody.
So this location versus approximately how far is this location from where Blue Light was originally?
Maybe like half a mile or a mile, something
You
like
keep
that.
saying a different area, a different location, and it's all right, pretty much there.
Well, downtown Chattanooga is only so big,
Right.
but the pocket where 1208 King Street is.
I'm familiar with both addresses.
Oh, yeah,
I
okay.
was just wondering, you
Yeah.
keep saying you're in a different location or you're in a different area, and you're pretty much just around.
Yeah, but the area of 1208 King Street is really not really anything like Station Street or Main Street. It's that you don't have nearly that many businesses down there, for one. You don't have the residents that you do. You have the Moxie Hotel across the parking lot, but it's just a really it's just a very different layout and area of the city than Station Street is.
That's all I have.
Is Mint open now? Are you open now?
But we just got our A, B, and C inspection done yesterday. And we had the beer hearing today.
All right.
So, yeah, we're working on the place right now. Yeah.
All right. So the question to this board is, are we going to give Mint their beer license or not? It's a yes, we will, or no, we will not.
To legal.
I'm sorry?
I have a question to legal. Can we give them a beer license if the owner still has an existing revoked beer license under his name?
So, under the, code, under section 5-45, when to be refused, section F, let's see, no permit required by this division shall be issued where a person, firm, corporation, joint stock company, syndicate, or association having at least 5% ownership in the applicant has been, and then it says a couple other things, has had a permit under this chapter revoked within 1 year or is currently under suspension. The board, in its discretion, may determine that issuance of a license or permit before the expiration of 1 year from the date of revocation becomes final and is appropriate. I looked this up before I left. The order of voluntary dismissal was entered on September 20th, 2023, so we're beyond that year now. If the board chooses to grant the permit, they can. And under section A, it also states that no permit required by this division shall be issued where the operation of business conducted thereunder may cause congestion of traffic, interfere with schools, churches, parks, or other places of public assembly, or otherwise interfere with the public health, safety, or morals, or where this article or any other law would be violated, including but not limited to the zoning laws. Now, zoning's already signed off on it, so the decision rests with the board.
And we're past the year.
You're past the year,
Okay.
so.
If I can just say too, I mean, I've planned this out with that in mind. Look, I think we all needed, I think, a cooling down period from my previous business. And I've spent over a year just trying to find the right people in the right location who want to do something different. You know, I think the one thing I could communicate to you is that myself and my landlords would say the same thing. We just want to move on from that. We're not looking for any continuation of that. I deliberately left it that long and just let that subside for that reason. And we're all just excited to move on to something new.
Can I ask you one question? What are your lessons learned from blue light?
How long do we have?
Sum it up.
Yeah, well, those are conversations I've had with Jason many times. There's a lot to learn. Number one, safety and security, number one. I saw operating a late night business, and quite honestly, this is true of all of the late night businesses we have in Chattanooga. You know, you have to be able to deal with that crowd. The longer people are out, you know, there's safety issues that come into play with that. And I think we've seen that in a variety of places. I mean, since I've been done on Station Street, I know, places like Shady's and Exile and all these other places that have popped up, they've had their issues too, but that's to be expected. So you learn to hire very good security. One of the great things that's come around in the past couple of years, and I think Jason would probably agree, there's a lot of very, very good licensed security companies in this city that really know the law very well, up to tune on Dallas's law and all of that stuff. And I know all of them. I've already talked to them, getting quotes on, who can work what shifts with us. Because, when you're dealing with a 21-plus crowd, you definitely want to have security in place to make sure that everything's cool and everything's good. Again, the new location I'm at, that building, the design of the building, the landlord's expectations there, if I'm being frank, I just think it's a much better opportunity for me and for this business. We're on the same page. We've talked a lot about the, security aspects and making sure that both landlord and myself doing the right things, talking to the right people to make sure that all of that is in place. And like I said, talking about like literally everything right down to, what kind of DJs do you want if you have live bands? What kind of live bands are they going to be? What do you want to do? What kind of food do you want to serve? What kind of drinks do you want to? They've been really hands-on, and that's in that regard. And so, like I say, I mean, that's one really nice lesson because I didn't really have that kind of communication on Station Street, and I do have it here, and I've really enjoyed working with them so far. Yeah.
All right. Y'all good? All right. Zach?
Yes.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
There needs to be a motion
Oh, yeah,
on the floor.
okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, all right. Let's make a motion. I'm ready. Okay, we've been here long.
I'll make a
All right, can I have a
motion.
motion? Thank you.
Approve the beer permit for, was it Mint Hospitality Group?
All right, all right. It's been motioned by Zach, second by Christie, that we approve Mint Hospitality Group LLC Beer 1281, doing business as Mint. All ready for votes? We're going with Zach.
Yes.
Bessie?
Yes.
Reggie? Yes. Ron?
Yes.
Veronica?
No.
Brooke?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Miserable.
The light.
It's right in my
The
eyeball.
light.
You see that, right? I'm not asking a question. I'm sorry. I can't see.
And the chair votes. Chair votes no. The yes is approve it. The yes has it. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good. All right, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. All right, Ms. Bertha, we're on DDC Hotels, Inc., doing business as Jewelry Plaza Hotel Chattanooga.
Drury Development Corporation is making application to engage in the sale of consumer carryout beer at 7301 Shalford Road. The group has not had a beer permit before. The location is owned by DDC Hotels, Inc., and is zoned C4.
All right, your jury? Well, welcome, come on up. Yes, have you been sworn in?
What's that?
Have you been sworn in?
Yeah.
Okay,
Looks like the only thing that was holding up this morning was legal, but we'll defer to this young lady here.
all right,
Hi, good morning. I'm Cassandra Osborne.
all right, well, welcome. We're checking with legal to see what the holdup is.
I think it was,
What's your name again?
Cassandra Osborne?
Cassandra Osborne.
Yes.
this one had a couple, well, not a couple of issues, but the same issue that we encountered before where one of the corporate officers, they had a DWI on the record from 2015. So, I think this board has approved applications like this in the past. So I just need y'all to confirm that.
Did y'all hear legal? All right, we just had encounter like this not too long ago. Well, welcome, good morning. Tell us about that beautiful hotel that you're building off the interstate.
Yeah, we're very excited. So this is our fifth hotel in Tennessee. We have 3 in Nashville, outside of Nashville, and 1 in Knoxville. We're known for our kickback and our free breakfast, and then we're adding on the kitchen and bar concept, which is like an evening
restaurant for our customers. So they can receive outside customers, but it's really an amenity for our guests to enjoy while they're here, and they don't have to go out and fight Shallowford traffic. And
All right. Well, any questions from this board? Yes, ma'am. Chrissy?
So who is the officer that have, you said it's an officer that have a DUI, DWI?
Let's see. I had the wrong application.
Say it again, Bertha. Did you say something? She said something in your notes.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my
Okay.
computer to respond.
And while we're responding, I think on that, now, refresh my memory, did
Out there now.
we ask that last person to come off? Didn't we ask them to come off?
I think they automatically transferred it to someone else that didn't have, well, because
And
it's a
that was-
corporation.
Right, and that was done as a precaution because I didn't know how that was gonna work out with the board. The other one, I think, was Martha Ian,
Yeah, and
where,
it was nowhere around it.
I think his was from 2017, it was like 8 years ago or something like that. But the vice president and secretary, Jacqueline Polovot, has a DWI from 2016 on her background check.
You said two people or one person?
She is the vice president and secretary, but she's
Okay.
just one person.
Gotcha.
And it's from 2016.
And, yeah.
All right. All right. Any more questions?
Statement, and that is, if we have this in here about the DUI and we're still gonna override it, so what's the point in having it in our rules?
Well, it's
We've
not,
overrode it twice. So
It's
that
not a-
means each time we're gonna keep overriding.
Well, it's the way the code's written. The code is written, it doesn't say consumption in the code.
And I think we were asked at the last meeting that we talked to city council about this too. And that was 3 meetings ago.
so, the way the code is written, it doesn't say, DWI specifically. It says, alcohol related against the possession, sale, manufacture of alcohol. And the question was how the board wanted to interpret that. And my recollection is that they wanted, direction from city council. And, that is something that, I discussed with, Mr. Noblet about. And, that's something that either a board member or someone can approach the council during the public comment period at one of their meetings to discuss it, to bring it to their attention. Otherwise, there's no mechanism to
Really?
bring that forward. So,
All right, Ron?
Yes, is this a person that could have somebody else's name put in that slot? Is there somebody else that could be on that application besides this person's name?
I'm not familiar with the person, so I could check with our legal team and find out.
It's the vice president, I would.
the vice president and the
Not-
secretary.
When do you plan on opening?
October 25th.
October 25th,
So that's next Friday.
next Friday. Okay.
Has the state given you your liquor license? Has that been
We
approved?
just had the ABC inspection yesterday.
And like I said previously with the TABC, it's not a
No problem.
prohibitive
Right.
thing, so I'm just bringing that up as well. So,
And it was in 2016.
yes.
I have a question. In terms of day-to-day operations, does the vice president have any presence in the day-to-day operations of this establishment?
No,
Or is the person even in Tennessee?
no.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Any more questions? All right. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve the license.
That's been motioned by Brooke to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Bessie that we approve DDC Hotels, Inc., doing business as Jewelry Plaza Hotel Chattanooga, beer number 1285. Ready for votes? Christie?
Yes.
Brooke?
Yes.
Veronica?
No.
Ron?
Yes.
Reggie? Yes. Betsy?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. All
Thank
right.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Welcome to Chattanooga. All right. All right, next on our agenda is beer violations. There's none. We're open for discussion from the board right now. Anybody have any discussions? Want to discuss anything? Good to see you. We got a full house.
I'd just like to remind everyone that we have the ethics training, afterwards in the conference room.
All right. This training. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Bertha? Yeah, okay.
And the training from Calandra.
Yes. Yeah, that's I saw you come in. I meant to make note of that. How can we retrieve that, not retrieve it, but, make sure that Jury and, Brian Joyce, he probably already know. I know you already know about seeing Calandra for
About the
your,
training.
for the, your beer, your servers being trained.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And then you already know about the beer handbooks right there, the driver license books. And we need to do that for the hotel too. I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah, I apologize about that. All right, any more discussions for the board?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Bessie?
So I guess my question is just for my own clarification. You said that for city council to give any advice, somebody from the beer board needs to come to a city council meeting and request for the discussion? Heard?
Well, yes, it's to bring it to the board's attention. Oh.
There you go.
Anderson
Good
is
morning,
here,
good morning,
and,
Mr. Chris Anderson.
he can, give you some more insight into that.
Good morning, Chairman. May I address that?
You may, yes, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Beer Board, for being here this morning, especially since we did our best to block off your access to the building. Coming in.
Noticed that.
Apologies for that. We have a lot going on today. You do not need to physically appear at City Council to express that there needs to be a change in an ordinance. I know it seems like they take a long time to make ordinance changes, but that is built into the law. To make sure that when we do change ordinances, it is thought out, methodical, and the right thing to do. It can't just be that, well, we heard this one thing at a beer board meeting, so let's go change the ordinance next week. I am presenting to City Council, in fact, on this coming Tuesday, on 6 changes to the beer code. And Catherine can provide those, I believe, to the entire, we've signed off on it literally yesterday.
Right, and I planned on addressing that during our session as well, so.
And we've been working on this for a couple of months now, cleaning up several inconsistencies in the code. I'm chiefly charged with fixing city code and about 40 years of people changing one part of the code and not changing the other part of the code, so we have all these conflicts. And we've identified about 6 more in the beer code that need to be changed, as well as setting up the new procedure for the beer hearing officer that is more in line with Tennessee state law. But those changes are coming. Feel free to give Catherine or me any other changes you recommend. We're constantly, we treat the city code as a living document. It's not just, well, we made these beer laws in 1986 and we're never going to change them again. It's that we do see it as times change, rules change, people find a way to get around rules. So we're constantly looking to make the ordinances stronger and better, and we welcome your input into that.
All right. Thank you, sir. Any questions to Mr. Chris Anderson? Y'all good? All right, any more discussions for the board before I open up to the public? All right, anybody in the room that wants to address this board, you can speak for 3 minutes. Just come to the podium, state your name, and we will hear you.
Good morning.
How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
New and old, or mature, not old. I'm Calandra with Hamilton County Coalition, and I actually do the alcohol awareness training for the new applicants who have approved beer permits and a beer permit only. I also am approved to do the TABC server trainer as a certified trainer. And my questions with all of the changes that are happening within the board are, or I guess comments are just ensuring that individuals who are applying, going directly to the regulatory board, understand that if they do not have a TABC permit, that this training is in the ordinance to be required to be taken for their employees. But also making sure that there is a plan in place on how they, intend to handle intoxicated customers, their security, and things like that. I noticed with the ones today, I didn't hear anything about, security or if something happens, and that kind of thing. And I think in the past, and doing this for years and years, one of the things about the board in the past that was working was the board members were able to ask the applicants, what is your plan? How do you intend on preventing underage drinking, over-serving, your security, and that type of thing? And so I think it's important that we remember that although we are asking people to come into our community and bring businesses, we still want to keep the community safe. And so with that in mind, I just want to make sure that the training is still one of the things that's at the forefront. And they don't have to come to me. I have a lot of things to do. Hamilton County Coalition is not just alcohol awareness. That's like not even 1% of what we do. But I mean, one of the things we also do is let the community know what businesses are coming into their neighborhoods and how they can come to these beer board hearings if they have concerns or comments and speak with you guys or just at least voice their opinion about the concerns that they have. And so I just think it's very important that we kind of consider the businesses and the individuals that are applying for applications and knowing what their plans are for the future of keeping the businesses as well as our community, in compliance. So I just wanted to kind of make that comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ms. Calandra, my question to you, do you have business cards or pamphlets that you can leave like on the podium as well? Yes, that we can make sure? Yeah, thank you. All right, anybody else want to address this board? Y'all good? All right. Well, if there's nothing else said and done, can I get a motion to adjourn? So moved. It's been motioned. Second by Reggie, motion by Ron, second by Reggie, that we adjourn this meeting. Thank you. Meeting adjourned. All right.
No, it's